Hey folks, I have here the new Glock G43. Just got back from the firing range. Came standard Glocks, standard cleaning kit, everything. Comes with two 6-round magazine. One has the extended pinky grip. It's still 6 rounds. There, fits like that. This one fits like that. I have not completely disassembled it yet, but I did peek inside. I did a field disassembly, peeked inside, and it looks like it is built just like the G42 with the same trigger spring and all that. I will do, probably at the end of this video, or I might do another video, I will do a complete armor disassembly on it and show you the various parts. I fired 230 rounds through it, and I had 2 failure to feeds. The slide didn't go quite in a battery. One was with round 64 and one was with round 223. I'm not overly concerned about that. A lot of manufacturers like SIG have a break-in period of between 400 500 rounds around in there. Glock doesn't have a break-in period, but in general, if I have any issues within the first 500 rounds, I'm not that concerned about it. It's a Glock, it's going to run. I did shoot some different ammo, like some Buffalo Plus P. I know with the G42 they had some issues with overpowered and underpowered rounds. I didn't have any failures on that type of ammo. I have this low recoil Federal, so I did overpowered and underpowered and completely fine. The issues I had were not on that. I also fired some Winchester through it, no issues. I fired some Hornady American Gunner 115 grain XTP through it, no problems. Let's see, 3 boxes of that. Actually, here's some more Plus P 124 grain right here, no problems. This was one of the ones, this was round 223 of the custom 147 grain XTP. And also, let's see, 50 rounds of American Eagle. And I had my round number 64 was this Federal HST 124 grain HST jacketed hollow point. This is actually my favorite ammo right here. This is what I carry in all of my 9mm handguns. Like I said, I'm not concerned about it. I'm going to put more rounds down range with this ammo before I carry it in there, just to make sure it's not a repeat. But like I said, it's a Glock, not really that worried about it. I think 2 rounds out of the first 230 rounds is acceptable. Now, before I get into the specs, I did have one other thing, and let me go around the camera here. One issue, it's kind of weird. I don't know if it's my gun. I don't know if it's the magazine. I don't know what it is. It's kind of, of course it's not going to do it now. When I load it, it would kind of hang up about halfway. And of course it's not going to do it now. It did it with all my, or not all, but on occasion with loaded magazines. When I insert them, I'm firing, it would hang up. I don't know why it's not doing it now. Accuracy, I think, was excellent. I fired 7 yards. All of my groups were 6 shot. This one here is the Federal HST. Kind of got a little hanging Chad on there for all of you old enough to know what that is. 6 rounds here, 1, 2, 3 there. Minus this little piece I just pulled off. So 3 there, 3 there. Gonna have 1 flyer. Other than that flyer, good group. This here is the Hornady 115 grain. This one, not the best group. 3 here, 3 here. That was 6 rounds. And let's see, here's Hornady 147 grain. Pretty good, had 1 flyer. And the best group of the day, another same ammo, Hornady 147 grain XTP. 6 shots right there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then there's if you look on the back, there's another one in that group right there. But very tight group, 7 yards. This was off a rest. I have a Caldwell pistol rest that was off a rest. I'm not this good of a shot anymore. Used to be better. So the stats on it, I measured the slide. The width on the slide is 0.861 inches. That's what I got. They round it up to 0.87 if you look on the website. Kind of cool that they are reporting the slide width, because in a lot of their other pistols they don't. The total width, I got 1.066 inches, and that's measuring it with this and this, the slide stop. That's the thickest part of it. Their official measurement is 1.02 inches, so that's within a margin of error, 4/100ths of an inch. The overall length on it is 6.626 inches. The height is 4.25 inches. It weighs 17.95 ounces. The sight radius is 5.2 inches. And the trigger pull, they have it listed as 5.5 pounds with a 0.49 inch travel. And like most Glocks, it's about a 1/4 inch reset. Now, I measured it, and my measurement showed averaged out. I did a group of 5 trigger pulls and 8 pounds, 1.5 ounces. This is the worst trigger I've had on a Glock. Almost all Glocks are, I know there's competition Glocks that are 4.5 pounds, but of the 5.5 pound Glocks that I've had, the trigger pulls have always averaged right at that. This one's supposed to have that, but it's over 8 pounds. That's atrocious for a Glock, and I will probably talk to them about that. I don't know if it's a trigger bar, not sure what it is. I don't know if other Glocks, Glock 43s are getting that. That's what this one got. Even though it's heavier than most Glocks, it's still a good trigger. And I would still rate it as the best trigger on the Micro 9s, at least in my opinion. I've heard some other people say they really like the car, but I don't. That's the one thing I don't like about the car is the trigger. The PPS has a really good trigger. I would say this one here is slightly better, but they're even for the most part. But it's still a really good trigger. It still has a really excellent reset, crisp break. It's just a little heavier. Size-wise, this is a G42. It is a little bit bigger. It's always kind of hard to do these comparisons on video, but it's a little bit bigger than the G42. Not much, a little bit. And here is it's a G26. It is, for all intents and purposes, the exact size of a G26 except narrower. G26, G43. As far as I can tell, that is the only difference dimensionally. Now, officially Glock does recognize there's a difference on there, but you're talking, this is 0.26 inches, or excuse me, less than 2/10 of an inch shorter in length than this, and about 0.1 of an inch in height. So not a lot of difference. With the G42 comparison, there's, you're talking about a 1/4 of an inch difference in length and height. So not a whole lot, but a little bit of difference. Now, some other handguns on the market. Here is the Ruger LC9. It's roughly the same size. One difference, if you put your hand right here, so grip height, if you put your grip the same, then the LC9 is a little bit taller, and that's probably due to the fact that it's a hammer firearm, but roughly the same size. Here is the PPS, which is bigger grip, bigger back end. It's not much bigger. It's roughly the same size, but it is just slightly bigger. But as I said, roughly the same size. And here is one of the smallest 9mm on the market. It's a Car PM9, same size as the CW9, and the G43 is a little bit bigger, not much. Grip height is about the same, so like as far as printing, it's going to be the same. A little bit longer barrel, which when you're concealing is not a big deal. So it's pretty much the same. Not a lot of difference. Probably one of the key differences, if you put the grip the same, this is just a little bit longer. Not sure that might, as far as printing and stuff like that, could have a little effect. Plus this beaver tail. One of the things I do like about this is that it does have a beaver tail, and so you can grab this as high as you want as a standard Glock. Now, as far as shootability, it is minimally more felt recoil than the G26, and I say minimally. It's very little difference. I believe that since this is thicker, it fills your hand a little bit more, so it kind of tames the recoil a little bit more. This is thinner, but it's not very, I mean, you barely notice it. Not a lot of difference at all. So if you fired a G26, that's basically what the G43 feels like. Now, as far as like the PM9, LC9, the other ones, this is way better. It manages the recoil way better. I've always said that the best shooting micro 9mm is the Walther PPS, and that is this one. And this is kind of borderline micro subcompact, but it's a slim line. Similar intent, similar mission as this one. I've always said the PPS is the best to shoot. It's very comfortable. You can shoot that all day. This is right there with that. I'd say they're pretty much even, neck and neck. So the G43, you know, I'd say is extremely shootable. Very comfortable to shoot. You don't have to worry about that wicked recoil, which is much like the G42. The G42 is just a little bit bigger than some of the tiny micro 380s on the market, but it's more shootable. And it's one point I wanted to bring up about this is that Glock has taken a lot of flack about not getting that single stack to market, and on one of my previous videos I mentioned that I believe since they had some issues with the G42 shooting the high-powered and the underpowered ammo, that they took a little bit longer with this to make sure that they got it right. And in my opinion, they did. I think they absolutely got it right. I didn't have any issues with Plus P. I didn't have any issues with the low recoil ammo. So the two issues that were there with the G42, they didn't have that with the G43. So I believe they learned their lesson. They took a little bit longer to get it out of market. People were expecting it to SHOT Show in January. Instead, it was released in March. 2 months, not a big deal. Get over it, stop whining. The G43, it's an excellent pistol. I can definitely see this in the hands of law enforcement as a backup. I think this is probably going to be like the most popular backup pistol amongst law enforcement in the Glock market. In the market in general, but as far as Glock goes. So it's outstanding. I believe Glock did an awesome job with this. I believe they hit a home run, and look for it soon. It should be on shelves, you know, in the coming months. So if you have any questions about this, let me know. Semper Fi, and God bless. This is a armor's disassembly, so if you're not a certified armorer, don't break it down like this. I have everything done with the exception of the magazine catch spring. I left that in there. Really no point in taking that out. It is ambidextrous, unlike the G42. And also as a note, it has this texture very similar to the G42. Not quite as rough as the Gen 4 models, but it's pretty close. A couple notable difference: the slide stop lever is built like the G42. The trigger spring is built like the G42. The slide stop and spring, I should say the spring, not so much the slide stop, but the spring is also like the G42. So those parts are all different than the other models. Something else, the firing pin safety is oblong like the G42. It's not cylindrical like the Gen 4s and previous models. Other than that, I believe it's pretty much the same. Not a whole lot of difference. I mean, there's something. I mean, obviously the right here, that's a little bit smaller, the slide cover plate, than other models because it's a slim line. But other than that, it's pretty much the same. One other thing to note: the manual is different because it actually has the G43 listed in there. So it is a manual. It doesn't say 2015, but it was written in 2015. Otherwise, it wouldn't have the G43 in there.